Hey, what is going on, folks? So, talking about reducing your spending, reducing debt, because you are funding your own demise. That is our topic of today. So, what am I talking about, guys? You guys heard plenty of times why people say, reduce having debt and credit cards, regret unnecessary loans. So you guys already know that general information, I hope. If you don't and you need me to explain it in a future video, I'm there for you. But right now, the Federal Reserve has been continuing to raise interest rates at the time of this recording. I speculate that they will pause rate hikes for now and kind of watch what happens with inflation in the economy. And that's why it's important to remind you guys about this credit usage in a way that you're not used to hearing. You guys always know that, high interest rates leads to a higher payment, and you're just wasting your money on interest rates, especially if you're carrying debt month to month on credit cards or unnecessary loans. But what you also don't know is the Fed is fighting inflation, which basically, in a long story short, means prices is going up, your dollar is doing less work for you, right? What they want to do is slow down the economy, reduce spending, and bring the demand on goods down. To bring the demand on goods down, they need to get into your pocketbook, right? They are raising the interest rates on a federal level so that when these it all trickles down, but when the smaller banks need to borrow or lending institutions need to borrow, they have to borrow at a higher interest rate. And they charge you a higher interest rate as a result. So you also pay more. The intention is, if you are paying at a higher rate, you would spend less because you are being penalized. You're seeing your interest rate going up, so you will make those decisions to start spending less. That hasn't happened at a fast enough rate, right? Or it hasn't happened fast enough, hence why the Fed has continued to raise interest rates, really trying to hit your pocketbook, really trying to cut down on how much you have in your savings that they need to, because on two things: let you burn out your cash, right? Then see how much these interest rates are on your credit cards, and then you get stuck paying so much interest that you can't even afford to spend more on your credit card, right? So you just stop. That's ultimately the position the Fed is getting you into. The sooner you just stop unnecessary spending, right? The Fed halts on the interest rates, right? Because inflation should go down, right? And then ultimately the amount of money, so now you have a higher savings because you're not spending, and your interest rates that you are paying on your existing cards, they stay relatively low. I quote it because they're not low, they're high anyways. But that's what I'm saying, you're funding your own demise. On top of that, they are pushing the employers, right? By raising rates, slowing growth. The Fed is encouraging employers to hire less people, slow down their wages, and or terminate people to get this economy to slow down. So while you are spending cards, gathering debt, you also are funding that very scenario where your employer lets you go and terminates you, because that's what the Fed is doing. That's why I said at the very beginning of the video, you are terminating your own, or I forgot how I said it actually, because I was free basic. But you're funding your own demise. I think that's what I said. You are funding your own demise, and you are paying the interest on it. So stop. All the Fed wants you to do is stop spending money, but you won't listen if they say that. So they raise interest rates until they raise it high enough where you feel the pain. The sooner you stop, the better it is for everybody. And it's a win-win. You have higher savings because you're stopping your spending, right? And you're paying off this debt. So look, they're trying to get inflation down to like 2%. Basically, the price of things over time rises 2% a year. That is reasonable because the government's always going to print money. There's always more people entering the population. So in general, things do go up over time. They just need it to be at a healthy rate. So right now, if everybody across America hypothetically reduced their spending by about like 5%, you guys can fill in the comments, but that would lower the government's or the Fed's pressure on raising the rates, because they're just trying to get that to happen, but you're not, so they're forcing it. So the things that you don't need, if like me, I'm driving this car, look at this thing, it's falling apart right now. I don't need another car. I want another car. This car works very fine. If I were to get another car, because of the Fed interest rates, I'm also going to be paying a higher interest rate on the car, whether I buy it or I lease it, right? So I'm just going to stop. I'm just going to keep this car. What happens? The interest rates will stagnate and or go down. The prices will begin to soften, right? You have to pick or choose. What do you need? What do you want? The Uber Eats that y'all are getting, cook some food at home. Save that, right? Find where in the budget you are wasting money and save it. Now I can have a whole series of videos on that, but today's topic is just this. Reduce the unnecessary spending on your credit cards and your loans. If you don't need that car this year, don't get it this year or this month. I'm not going to tell you indefinitely to hold off, just for now. Let's get this thing to cool down. But again, you walk away with more. If your car is functioning fine, like my car, it's just cosmetic stuff falling apart. I give it an oil change, I replace the tires. Everything else is fine. Oh, actually, I can't play music through the aux, and my cigarette lighter doesn't work. So that's it. But it works fine. So because I'm not spending, I don't know, $500 a month on repairs, this is still a reasonable vehicle to drive, unless it was economically costing me more money than it would just to get a newer vehicle. Even getting a new old car, like a different purchase, I might get unforeseen problems with the car. Those things can happen because I know what's going on with this car. I don't know about anyone else's car, or I might not get the same amount of money. Before you know it, I'm at a $3,000 deficit that I didn't need to incur. You see? So what is that item or items that you can just cut back on? Like I said, you will save money and discourage the Fed from increasing the rates on your existing things anyways. It's a win-win, guys. Anyways, man, if you guys want more information on those kind of topics, I'm just a regular guy that speaks the language of us understanding this together. I invite you to check out this channel, like it. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you later.